Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our special guest. Aging. Not a lot we can do about it. It's just going to happen, except maybe for some sod here and some sprays there. However, how we handle aging, we have a lot of choices, and that's what I want to talk about. Several years ago, first of all, my dad was a great father, and I had a great mom too. And Dad took care of things in aging and his twilight years beautifully through a will, paid for his funeral, and so on. A very, very likable guy. When they were living in Colorado, they decided, he and my mom, that they would look for some independent living, and so that when we get to where we're going, we can evolve into a nursing home and assisted living and so forth. So they went out and looked for a place, and they found one. They were about to sign up for it, and my mom says, "I don't want to go to live with all those old people." And that kiboshed the whole thing. A few years later, my dad had dementia, and this evolved into Alzheimer's. And this mild-mannered guy that wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings turned into a monster. He berated my mother, put her down, persecuted her really, except I don't think he hit her or anything like that, but boy, it was awful. And it was an untenable position. So a decision was made that we would put him in a nursing home. I was elected to do it. Toughest day of my life, no doubt about it. He didn't want to go, and took him, got him, and finally got him in there against his will. Tried to calm him down, couldn't do it. And finally I said, "Dad, it's 9 o'clock at night, I've got to leave." And I turned around and I started to leave. And he said, "I'll never forgive you for what you've done to me today." Now, I know my dad, and I know that that was not my dad that said that, because he would never have done something like that. But those words seared in my body, and I'll never forget them, ever. Saw my dad one more time, but he didn't even recognize me. How sad. But that was a learning lesson for me. And so my wife Kay and I, we decided, hey, we're not going to let this happen to us. 9 years ago, we started looking for a place for senior living. Found one, Sunnyside Village, which is at the corner of Bay Vista and Honore. We signed up 7 years ago for a place and got in last May. That's right, we waited 7 years on a list to get in. This place I had great expectations for this place, and it's exceeded them. I just want to talk about one aspect, and that is the culture, the feeling among people. We were in there just a few days, and there were at least 10 visits from people or couples. And they had cookies and candy. One couple brought orchids. Really neat. And then one of our neighbors organized a coffee clutch for just the neighbors around us so that we could all get to know each other. Isn't this a marvelous way to start? I don't know how many times you guys have moved, but I've moved plenty of times and never had anything close to this. Well, as I think about this, I thought about my good friend, Richard. Richard lived in the Meadows. His wife's name was Rosemary. And Richard and I had a relationship where we could talk at the gut level. We could not hurt each other's feelings, just no ways. We could say anything. Well, Richard physically started to deteriorate. And so I said to him, I said, "Richard, you've got to be thinking about doing something." Now, I don't know if it was me that did this on his own, but anyway, he went out and he started looking, came up with a place, coincidentally Sunnyside. He came back, but he decided not to do anything. The reason, he wasn't ready. Well, a little while after that, Richard's wife Rosemary had Alzheimer's. They took her down to a place in Palmer Ranch. Richard continued to deteriorate, even though he lived alone for a while. And he wound up in assisted living, I think it was on Cattleman, and then on to nursing home, which was on Benito. And I thought about that, how sad. Here's a man and a woman that lived together, married for well over 50 years, and he's, in the twilight of their life, he's miles away from her. And the only way they could get together is a taxi or somebody taking them, which I did periodically. And how sad. Go into this big room, there'd be all these people in there, and there, I don't know if she even recognized him, but he was trying to get to her, you know, and so on. Sad, sad situation. And of course, they've all passed away now. So we've decided that we've decided on what we want to do. We are there, we are happy, and we're going to go. And the hope is that we have avoided some of the potential pitfalls. Now, I think that each of you, think about yourself. And if you're young, someone says, oh, well, I got years to it. You do, but what about your parents or your grandparents or friends or whoever? Think about that. Aging, you have no choice. But handling age, you have a choice. Go for it.